I celebrate May as the month of rhubarb. Often I make a sweet dessert or a little bit sweet and tangy pie. It's just so good. But this time I'm going to use rhubarb in a savory dish. Now, I adapted a recipe that I found on Where's My Spoon website. I got that link down below. But I changed it up quite a bit because you know what? You should have fun in the kitchen, right? Experiment a little. This isn't canning. You don't have to follow strict guidelines. This is just cooking. Have fun. Take some risks. And for a lot of people, rhubarb that isn't in a dessert is a risk. But did you know that rhubarb really is a vegetable? Well, a lot of people think it's a fruit, and I understand why they're confused. Because in 1947, the USDA declared it to be a fruit. It was something about getting lower tariffs then or something on it. But the honest truth is, the scientific truth is, it is a vegetable. So we're going to use it to make a savory chicken dish. We have chicken thighs over a bed of rice with a bunch of scrumptious sauce on top. And that sauce has rhubarb and onions and garlic and ginger and lime juice and honey and a lot more. Oh, and tomatoes. I mean, you cook it a long time and it is just mwah, a little tart, a little sweet. And you can always make it as tart as you want and as sweet as you want by either adding or subtracting less of an ingredient. So right now, let's go over the ingredients. I used 1 red onion. I halved it and sliced it thinly. 1 tablespoon minced garlic, or in my case, I use garlic paste. I'm only using 4 chicken thighs, but you can use 4 to 6 chicken thighs in this recipe. A tablespoon of olive oil, a tablespoon of Creole seasoning, 1 teaspoon of ginger paste, 1 can of 14-ounce chopped tomatoes or diced fresh tomatoes, or in my case, a pint of home canned crushed tomatoes, 3 tablespoons honey, 1 tablespoon lime juice, 2 cups rhubarb diced, and you could use frozen rhubarb too if you have it, and 1 1/2 cups of chicken stock. And you might want to salt to taste. I didn't think it needed any salt because of the chicken broth. So let's get started. You have to slice very thinly your onions. Okay, we have our onion peeled. Now we're going to cut it in half. There we go. And I'm going to cut it in half again. And now we're just going to be slicing it like this. Thinner slices. Looks so pretty, doesn't it? So I'll be back when I have it all sliced up. So this gave me about 3 cups of sliced red onions. And now you're going to wash your rhubarb and just cut it up into dices. And it's just little chunks. It really doesn't matter. Now some people peel their rhubarb. I don't. I don't see why. I think you rid yourself of a lot of nutrition then. And as long as you wash it well, it'll taste just fine. So make sure you're chopping up all your rhubarb. And we're going to want about 2 cups. Ow. Okay, we're getting it brown. It's been 5 minutes. We're just going to flip them over. Splatter up some oil. And do it 5 minutes on the other side. Be back. Okay, they've gotten nice and brown. We're going to take them out of the pan. Try not to get any of that hot oil on ourselves. There we go. Now we're going to leave the oil and the chicken juice in there, and we're going to add our onions. And then you want to add your garlic. And it can be like this garlic paste, or minced garlic or fresh garlic, whatever you want. Oh, probably about, maybe it's a little more than a tablespoon. We do like our garlic. We want to soften the onions a bit. So yeah, 5-10 minutes, whatever you think is good. Smelling good. Love the smell of onions cooking and garlic. And together, divine. Looks pretty, doesn't it? You see the consistency? Yeah. They're soft now. It smells so good. I am going to add this Creole seasoning. You can use the seasoning of your choice. We're going to add about a tablespoon of it. Less if you don't like something as spicy. It's up to you. Mix it in here. Want to add your ginger? Maybe about a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons. Basically up to you. Now we're just going to cook this for about another 5 minutes. Let all the flavoring get in here to the onions. And we'll be back. Now it's time to add the tomatoes. I'm using home canned crushed tomatoes, but you could use diced tomatoes, store-bought can, you know, like the 14.5 ounce can, whatever you have on hand, or fresh diced tomatoes if you got it. Okay, mix it up. Getting a pretty color now. We're gonna let this cook for another 3 minutes. Mix it all in. Now we're gonna add our rhubarb. Mix it up again. Should end up with a pretty red color sauce. And you can either use fresh lime juice or bottled here. We're putting in a tablespoon. We're going to want about 3 tablespoons of the honey, I think. Could have less. You could always add more, however. 1, oops, a little bit more than 2, 3. There we go. Okay. Again, let's mix it up. Get that honey and lime juice through the whole thing. Okay. Place our chicken back in here. And I am actually going to, let's see, I think do it just the opposite of the way it looks good, but so all that sauce gets on the front side here. Another one here. Okay. Now it's time to add our chicken broth. So we got about 1.5 cups here. There we go. Now we're going to turn it down to simmer and cook it for about 1 hour and 15 minutes. Don't cover it. We want it to thicken up a bit. And occasionally come back and stir it. Be back when it's done. It's been about 1 hour, and I'm going to turn these over right now. Just a little dark there on the bottom, but looking good. Okay, there we go. Got about another 15 minutes. Right now, let's do our taste test. Let's see how this is tasting. You always want to do a taste test because maybe it's got a little bit too much heat, too much Creole seasoning. Or maybe it's too tart and you want it sweeter, so you're going to add some more honey. Or maybe it's not tart enough and you want to add a little lime juice. Or maybe it needs some salt. Completely up to you. Always do your taste test. Definitely a little tart, but it is really good. I think it's going to be excellent on this chicken. You can taste the onions. Definitely rhubarb. A little bit Creole heat's there. Yeah, it's good. Been an hour and 15 minutes. You can see the sauce is thickened up or quite a bit. If you want, you could always thicken it up even more with some cornstarch. But now it's time to dish it up. Nice one on top of our rice here. And then we're just going to drizzle this over. Doesn't that look delicious? Almost time for taste test. Just gotta let it cool off a minute. Okay, here's the taste test. Doesn't that look good? This has so many flavors. It is really, really good. Could you say you just taste the rhubarb? No. You just taste the onions? No. How about just the tomatoes? No. The Creole seasoning, the ginger? No. It all kind of blends together into a sauce that is excellent. Let's do one more bite. Melt in your mouth. Oh, this is addicting. It is so, so good. Now, if I have any sauce left over, I'm just going to freeze it and use it again in the future. But I really urge you, try this dish. Get out of your dessert comfort zone and make rhubarb a little differently this season. You'll be glad you did. And if you're interested in more rhubarb recipes, check out my playlist.